Have you ever felt like you're kind of caught in a financial loop? You know, you work incredibly hard, you put in all the hours, you earn your money, but despite all that effort, sometimes it just feels like you're running in place, like stuck on a treadmill, never really getting ahead. It's so frustrating to feel that way, isn't it? Today, we're taking a deep dive into some, well, surprisingly simple insights that could maybe unlock a very different path for you.
Absolutely. And we're going to explore a core idea
Oh,
that
yeah.
comes up in various sources that really gets to the heart of why so many people struggle financially, even when they're, earning a decent income.
Right.
What's often overlooked and what our material really highlights is that it frequently boils down to just a fundamental misunderstanding of, well, how money really works.
Hmm.
It's less about how much you earn, really, and much more about the actual decisions you make with that money once it's, in your hands.
That hits the nail on the head. So our mission today is basically to unpack this foundational concept. We want to expose 7 uh, common mistakes that, according to the sources we looked at, prevent people from truly building lasting wealth and ultimately financial freedom.
Yeah.
Think of this as maybe a shortcut to being well-informed, not just on what to do, but really understanding why these sometimes subtle shifts can make such a huge difference. And it all starts with a formula that seems, well, almost too simple.
Hmm.
So our sources lay out what looks like a very clear, almost deceptively simple formula for building wealth. It goes like this. You work you make money, then you buy things that grow in value. Those things build wealth, and eventually that wealth gives you freedom.
Right.
It sounds so straightforward on paper, doesn't it? Like a basic equation everyone should just follow.
It really does sound incredibly straightforward. And this brings up a really important question for us. If the formula is so clear, why do most people get stuck? Stuck at just making money and then struggle to progress to building genuine wealth and achieving that freedom.
Yeah, where's the disconnect?
The core issue, and the material we have emphasizes this again and again, is that critical decision point. What they choose to buy next, right after the money hits their bank account.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. And honestly, where many of us, maybe unconsciously, kind of derail the whole process. Instead of consistently buying things that grow in value, things that actually put more money back in your pocket over time or appreciate significantly.
Assets.
Exactly, assets. People often spend their hard-earned money on, well, stuff that looks good now but actually loses value.
Mm-hmm.
Our sources call these liabilities. They might give you a temporary thrill, sure, a moment of satisfaction, but they're actively draining your financial potential in the long run.
Exactly. And if we zoom out for just a second, it's all about making conscious choices. Choices that either, contribute to your future financial freedom or actively detract from it.
Hmm.
The fundamental distinction between assets, those things that either go up in value or generate income for you, and liabilities, things that cost you money just to own, maintain, and typically decrease in value. That's the crucial first step.
Right, understanding that difference.
Yeah, grasping this isn't just theory. It's like the very bedrock of understanding how to make your money work for you instead of, working against you.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Let's dive into 7 very common mistakes that maybe many of us are making with our money, often without even realizing the long-term hit. These aren't meant as judgments, not at all, but more like critical points for understanding the actual path to wealth,
Yeah.
helping you pinpoint areas where you might be able to make a really powerful pivot.
Good way to put it.
All right, first up, let's talk about the car. The shiny new car, right? That feeling of freedom on the open road, the latest model, all the bells and whistles.
No.
It's an incredibly powerful emotional pull. It can be a status symbol or sometimes just feels like a necessity. But our sources point out that committing to a brand new car with those seemingly manageable monthly payments often means huge chunks of your income are just being funneled straight into a depreciating asset.
And what's often completely overlooked here is this powerful concept of opportunity cost.
Right, what you're not doing with that money.
Precisely. That money isn't just spent on the car itself and the interest, insurance, maintenance, all that stuff. It's also money that's not being invested. Just think about what even a, let's say, modest monthly car payment, say $400, $500, what that could generate if it was consistently invested.
Right.
Invested in assets that average maybe a 7 to 10% return over, say, a decade or two. We're talking about potentially missing out on tens, maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars in wealth growth down the line. The car's value just plummets the second you drive it off the lot,
Yeah.
right? While that same money, if invested, could be compounding, working tirelessly for your future. That's like a silent killer of wealth for so many people.
That's a huge, huge distinction. Okay, so from big purchases like cars, let's
Yeah.
shift focus a bit. Let's
Yeah.
talk about smaller, maybe everyday decisions that can also drain our resources.
Yeah.
This brings us to mistake number 2. Buying designer clothes or luxury watches that often lose value the second you wear them. We've all felt it, right? The allure of luxury, that instant gratification of a new outfit, or maybe the prestige of a high-end watch. You see it everywhere, social media, magazines, and it kind of whispers success.
Sure.
But what really happens to its actual resale value the moment you take it home, or even just step out of the store? Is it truly an investment?
Well, the intriguing thing here is really understanding the psychology that's going on. A lot of people buy these items for, external validation,
Right.
to project a certain image,
Right.
rather than making choices based on internal financial discipline. These items are classic liabilities. They depreciate fast, often by 50% or even more, almost immediately after you buy them.
Ouch.
Yeah. So while they might project an image of wealth, they rarely contribute to your actual long-term financial stability. In fact, they actively take away from it. That money spent could instead be invested in things that truly enhance, say, your personal brand and skill set, like maybe education or networking opportunities. Those an item that's rapidly losing value.
That makes sense. And speaking of experiences, that leads us to mistake number 3. Taking big trips you can't really afford. I mean, who doesn't love an exotic getaway? Scrolling through those beautiful travel photos on Instagram. It's incredibly easy to feel that pull, right? To experience the world, make memories.
Totally understandable.
But when that trip is, beyond your current means and you're funding it with credit card debt maybe, or dipping into savings meant for other goals, what's the real cost beyond just the airfare and hotel?
This really prompts us to ask an important question about balancing, present enjoyment with future security.
Finding that balance.
Exactly. Accumulating debt for experiences that don't generate any financial value means you're often paying interest on those memories long after the tan fades, long after the photos are buried in your feed.
Right. Paying for it over and over.
Yeah, that debt becomes like a chain. It siphons off funds that could be building genuine assets. It actively delays your path to financial freedom, making it harder to save or invest for truly meaningful long-term goals, like, say, a down payment on an actual asset or building a solid retirement fund. It's really about being intentional. Save up for the trip you want rather than paying for yesterday's fun with tomorrow's potential.
Okay, mistake number 4. This one hits close to home for a lot of people, literally. Living in a house that's just too expensive. Our home is often seen as our sanctuary, right? Our biggest asset, the ultimate investment. It feels like the cornerstone of stability.
That's the common wisdom, yeah.
But what if that sanctuary comes with a price tag? The mortgage, property taxes, insurance, upkeep, utilities, that's stretching you totally thin every single month.
Yeah.
Making you house poor.
Well, the critical point to really grasp here is the difference between a home as an asset and an overly expensive home becoming a massive liability.
Okay.
Because while a home can appreciate, hopefully, it's not usually a cash-flowing asset in the same way, say, an investment property or a business might be. If its costs consume way too much of your income, it just drains funds that could otherwise be invested or saved or used to pursue other wealth-building opportunities
Or limits your options.
severely. Being house poor really impacts your financial flexibility. It limits your ability to respond to life's unexpected turns, and it prevents you from diversifying your investments properly. It can be like a very heavy, gilded cage, limiting your true financial freedom for years, sometimes decades.
Yeah, that flexibility seems key. Our 5th mistake highlights a really persistent, kind of insidious trap. Always having credit card debt. The convenience of plastic, it's undeniable. It's just so easy to swipe and think, I'll deal with it later. But our sources highlight that this constant cycle of high-interest debt is just a massive roadblock. It stops any real financial progress. It really is like trying to run up a down escalator.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. The underlying principle here is that high-interest credit card debt works directly against the whole principle of building wealth.
Completely opposite.
Exactly. The interest payments alone can be this constant, significant drain, sometimes, over 20% APR, which means you're essentially just giving away a substantial chunk of your money every single month, just for the privilege of having used it earlier. It makes it incredibly difficult to retain any money, let alone grow it through investments.
Right.
And this isn't just about the numbers either. There's a psychological burden, too. It keeps you locked into this reactive rather than proactive financial mindset. It makes it nearly impossible to ever really put your money to work for you. Even small balances, if they just linger, can quietly erode your entire financial foundation.
Okay, so we've covered these sort of everyday choices and bigger purchases. But mistake number 6 is more about foresight. It's
Yeah.
not planning ahead, not planning for big life events like having kids or family responsibilities or just unforeseen emergencies. Life throws curveballs, right?
Always does.
Big ones like starting a family or buying that home we talked about, or unexpected ones like, boom, a sudden job loss or a medical emergency, or even just a major car repair blowing up. Our sources really emphasize the critical importance of looking ahead and actually preparing for these, frankly, inevitable events.
And this prompts a deeper look at proactive financial management versus constantly just reacting from a position of weakness.
Reacting instead of planning.
Precisely. Without dedicated planning for these life events, like, say, building a proper emergency fund, maybe 3 to 6 months living expenses, or starting a college fund early, or diligently saving for retirement right from the get-go,
Mm-hmm.
you're often forced into taking on more high-interest debt, or maybe liquidating hard-earned assets prematurely, or just making really difficult financial compromises when these situations hit.
Yeah, you're backed into a corner.
Exactly. Having that financial cushion isn't just about the money itself. It's about peace of mind, it's about resilience, and it's about maintaining your trajectory toward financial freedom, even when life gets unpredictable. It's like the ultimate act of self-care for your future self.
That's a great way to think about it. Okay, and finally, mistake number 7. This one might feel a bit different from the others because it's not strictly about money directly, but our source material explicitly states wasting your time on things that don't help your future. So what does this mean for building wealth beyond just where your cash goes? How does time become like a financial asset or liability?
Well, the intriguing aspect here is really viewing time as a non-renewable resource, just like money, right? And arguably even more valuable.
True. Can't make more time.
Exactly. So if we connect this to the bigger picture, time spent on activities that don't, say, enhance your skills or build your knowledge or grow your network or directly contribute to your income-generating potential, well, that can be seen as a lost opportunity for future wealth.
Okay.
It's really about prioritizing high ROI time activities. Return on investment, but for your time. This could be anything from learning about investing, setting up automated financial systems so you don't have to think about it, reading books that expand your professional capabilities, or even dedicating time to self-care that genuinely boosts your productivity and focus. Conversely, excessive passive consumption, like, endless scrolling on social media or binge watching shows for hours on end, while enjoyable in moderation, of course, when it's overdone, it can quietly erode your potential. Your potential to build skills, generate more income, or simply manage your money effectively because you're too drained or distracted. It's an investment decision with your time, just like anything else.
So you see, these 7 points, they aren't just about simple budgeting or, just spending less money overall. They're really about making conscious, intentional choices about where your money, and critically, as you just said, even your time, is truly
Yeah.
going. It's
Yeah.
a fundamental mindset shift, isn't it? From being primarily a consumer of liabilities to becoming an investor in assets.
Precisely. Yeah, we've explored this simple yet really powerful formula for building wealth, and we've identified these common pitfalls, these traps that many people encounter, often without realizing the sort of cumulative damage over time.
Right.
The crucial takeaway, I think, is empowering yourself. Just understanding the fundamental difference between things that truly grow and value your assets, the things that put money in your pocket, and those that merely look good, maybe offer temporary satisfaction and ultimately deplete your resources, your liabilities.
Yeah.
It's that distinction, understanding it deep down, that gives you real agency over your financial future.
And the truth, as our sources stated so clearly, is basically this. If you don't fix these common financial habits, these perspectives, early on, you'll likely find yourself still struggling for financial security when you're older, regardless of how hard you work.
Sad, but often true.
And this is the incredibly exciting part, I think, if you focus on understanding and actually applying these principles now, you can create genuine financial freedom way, way sooner than you might ever have thought possible.
Absolutely. And this isn't about, deprivation or living some life of extreme austerity. That's not the point.
No.
It's about intentionality. It's about strategic decision-making and really understanding the levers of wealth creation. Start learning, start applying these principles, even in small ways, starting today. It truly makes everything easier later on, and it opens up possibilities, opportunities for your future that you might not have even imagined before.
Yeah.
Think of it as investing in your future self. That future, you will undoubtedly thank you for it.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? If understanding and, more importantly, actively acting on these principles could lead to financial freedom faster. Just imagine not just having more money, but having more time. Real time. Time to pursue what truly matters to you, whether that's, I don't know, a passion project, more time with family, volunteering, or simply the freedom to choose how you spend your days. What would you do with that kind of freedom starting today?